Welcome back, dear listeners and fellow explorers of the unknown, to another chilling installment of our haunted storytelling series. Tonight, a place where history, mystery, and the supernatural converge in ways that will leave you questioning what lurks just beyond the veil of reality. Whether you're a longtime fan of the paranormal or simply curious about the stories that have sent shivers down the spines of locals for generations, this episode promises to take you deep into the heart of fear itself. Louisiana is known for its rich cultural heritage, vibrant music scene, and mouth-watering cuisine. But beneath the surface of this southern gem lies a darker side, hidden within its historic homes, eerie bayous, and forgotten plantations. Over the years, numerous reports of ghostly encounters, unexplained phenomena, and chilling legends have cemented Louisiana's reputation as one of the most haunted states in the country. From shadowy figures lurking in empty hallways to disembodied voices calling out from the darkness, these places have drawn in investigators, thrill-seekers, and those desperate for answers to the mysteries that refuse to be forgotten. We'll uncover the tragic histories behind these sites, examine first-hand testimonies from witnesses, and investigate the theories that attempt to explain why these places feel so different from any other. Some believe these locations are home to lingering spirits, trapped between worlds, while others suspect a more sinister force at play, one that does not welcome intruders lightly. Whether you believe in ghosts, curses, or simply the power of suggestion, there is no denying that Louisiana's haunted places continue to captivate the imaginations of those who dare to enter. As we uncover the layers of mystery surrounding these locations, we'll examine the historical events that may have contributed to their haunted reputations, the psychological effects of fear and expectation, and the scientific theories that attempt to explain why certain places feel so different from any other. So, if you're ready to step into the shadows of Louisiana's past, then turn off the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for an unforgettable journey into the unknown. Because sometimes, the scariest places aren't found in horror movies. They're right here in our own backyard. The history behind Louisiana's most haunted locations. Louisiana's reputation as one of the most haunted states in America is deeply rooted in its complex and often tragic history. Long before European settlers arrived, the land was inhabited by various Native American tribes, including the Chitimacha, Homa, and Natchez, many of whom believed in spirits that roamed the forests, rivers, and sacred burial grounds. These early inhabitants left behind remnants of their culture, petroglyphs, earthworks, and ceremonial sites that still stand today, some of which are now linked to paranormal activity. Local legends speak of shadowy figures seen near ancient mounds, whispers carried on the wind through dense woodlands, and inexplicable occurrences reported by those who visit these ancestral lands. While some dismiss these tales as folklore, others believe that the spirits of Louisiana's first peoples never truly left, their presence lingering in the very soil upon which modern towns and cities were built. As European settlers moved westward in the 18th and 19th centuries, they brought with them their own superstitions, religious beliefs, and fears of the unknown. Many early settlers encountered hardships in Louisiana's dense forests and unpredictable weather, leading to high mortality rates and frequent conflicts with indigenous populations. These struggles gave rise to stories of cursed land, vengeful spirits, and haunted homesteads, all of which contributed to the growing collection of ghostly legends throughout the state. The construction of railroads and canals in the 19th century also played a significant role in shaping Louisiana's haunted legacy, as thousands of workers, many of them immigrants, died under dangerous conditions during infrastructure projects. Some believe that the souls of these laborers still wander along old railway lines and canal beds, unable to move on from the suffering they endured. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, Louisiana had become a hub for industrial growth, with cities like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette expanding rapidly. However, this progress came at a cost. Factories, mills, and mental institutions sprang up across the state, bringing with them reports of brutal working conditions, patient mistreatment, and unsolved murders. Abandoned buildings from this era, particularly psychiatric hospitals and prisons, have since gained reputations as hotspots for paranormal activity. One of the most infamous examples is the Jackson Barracks Asylum in New Orleans, once known as the Louisiana State Insane Asylum, where patients were subjected to experimental treatments, electroshock therapy, and inhumane living conditions. Today, visitors claim to hear disembodied voices echoing through its empty halls, see apparitions of former patients wandering the grounds, and experience sudden drops in temperature in areas where no mechanical explanation can be found. Beyond institutional buildings, Louisiana's natural landscapes have also played a role in shaping its haunted reputation. The Mississippi River, which forms the eastern border of the state, has long been associated with ghost stories and mysterious disappearances. Legends tell of phantom steamboats drifting silently through the fog, carrying lost souls from the past, while others speak of spectral figures appearing along riverbanks, staring into the water as if searching for something they lost. In the coastal town of New Iberia, the Bayou Teche has been linked to strange occurrences, including reports of unseen forces pulling people into the murky waters and visions of a woman in white walking along the shoreline before vanishing into thin air. As the years have passed, Louisiana's haunted locations have only grown in popularity, drawing both skeptics and believers to explore their eerie histories. With the rise of paranormal investigation groups and the widespread availability of digital recording equipment, reports of ghostly encounters have increased, fueling public fascination with the unknown. Whether one believes in spirits, residual energy, or psychological phenomena, one thing remains certain: Louisiana's haunted places continue to captivate the imagination, ensuring that their stories endure for generations to come. The haunting of the Bellerive Mansion, New Orleans. Nestled in the heart of the Garden District of New Orleans, the Bellerive Mansion stands as a grand relic of the city's antebellum past. Built in 1857, this sprawling Victorian-era estate was once the pride of the affluent Bellerive family, known for their wealth, political influence, and deep ties to the city's elite. With its intricate ironwork balconies, towering oak trees, and opulent interiors, the mansion exuded elegance and sophistication. However, beneath its polished exterior lies a history steeped in tragedy, death, and inexplicable occurrences that have earned it a place among Louisiana's most haunted locations. The haunting of the Bellerive Mansion is believed to have begun in the late 1800s, when Madame Celeste Bellerive, the matriarch of the family, died under mysterious circumstances. According to local legend, Celeste was a reclusive woman who spent much of her life confined to the upstairs bedroom, rarely seen by neighbors or even members of her own household. She was known for hosting elaborate seances, inviting spiritualists and mystics into the mansion in search of communication with the dead. On one fateful night in 1883, she was found dead in her room, seated upright in a chair with her hands folded neatly in her lap. Her expression was serene, but her eyes were wide open, locked in an eternal gaze toward the window overlooking the garden. Though the official cause of death was listed as heart failure, rumors swirled that she had summoned something unnatural, something that refused to leave with her passing. Since then, countless visitors and caretakers have reported unsettling experiences tied to the mansion. Many describe an overwhelming sense of sadness permeating the air, as if the building itself mourns Celeste's disappearance. Some have claimed to see a woman in a flowing black gown standing near the second-floor windows, staring out into the distance, as if waiting for someone who never arrives. Others report hearing faint French lullabies drifting through the halls late at night, though no source for the sound has ever been identified. Perhaps the most chilling account comes from a group of paranormal investigators who visited the mansion in the early 2000s. As they conducted an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, session in the master bedroom, one of the audio recorders captured a voice speaking in perfect 19th century French. "He should not have let them in." When translated, the phrase was interpreted as a reference to the seances Celeste hosted before her death, suggesting that whatever she had summoned may still linger within the walls of the Bellerive Mansion. Paranormal investigators have documented strange fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, cold spots that appear without warning, and faint whispers heard in empty rooms. Some researchers suggest that the mansion's history of grief and obsession has imprinted onto the environment, creating a residual haunting, a phenomenon in which past events replay themselves without conscious awareness from the spirits involved. Others believe that Celeste's spirit remains bound to the house, forever watching, forever waiting. Despite its haunted reputation, The Bellerive mansion remains privately owned and is occasionally open to the public for special tours. Those who enter often describe feeling an immediate shift in atmosphere, as if unseen eyes follow their every movement. Whether these experiences are the result of genuine paranormal activity or the power of suggestion, one thing is certain: the Bellerive mansion continues to captivate and terrify those who dare to walk its creaking floors, ensuring that the echoes of its past remain alive for generations to come. The disappearance of Megan LeClaire, Lafayette, Louisiana. On a quiet evening in October 2003, Megan LeClaire, a 22-year-old college student at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, vanished without a trace. Last seen leaving a campus library around 9 p.m., Megan had told friends she was heading back to her apartment, located just a short walk away. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses showed her walking alone along University Avenue, her silhouette visible under the dim glow of streetlights. She passed by the entrance to Parc Sans Souci, a small, tree-lined park frequently used by students and residents alike. But after that moment, Megan was never seen again. Her disappearance immediately sparked a massive search effort involving university officials, local law enforcement, and hundreds of volunteers. Police dogs tracked her scent as far as the park's perimeter, but the trail abruptly ended near a secluded bench tucked beneath the dense canopy of live oaks. No footprints led away from the area, and there were no signs of struggle or forced entry anywhere along the route she had taken. Despite exhaustive investigations, Megan's case remains officially unsolved, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and lingering fears. What makes Megan's disappearance particularly unsettling is the fact that multiple witnesses have reported strange occurrences in the same area where she was last seen. Over the years, several individuals have come forward claiming to have heard whispers calling out Megan's name from deep within the park, even though no one else was present. Others describe seeing a lone figure walking along the trails late at night, only to vanish when approached. Some joggers have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread when passing through the northern section of the park, as if they were being watched by something unseen. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of students who ventured into the park during a campus Halloween event in 2010. Armed with flashlights and determined to test the urban legends surrounding Megan's disappearance, they set out to retrace her final steps. As they reached the wooded area near the northern trail, one of them noticed a flickering light emanating from deeper within the trees. Thinking it might be another group of students playing pranks, they called out, asking if everything was okay. There was no response. When they cautiously stepped closer, the light vanished, and the forest fell into an oppressive silence. Moments later, one of the students claimed to hear a soft whisper directly in his ear. "Help me!" Paranormal investigators have visited the site multiple times, documenting unusual electromagnetic field fluctuations and faint voices captured on audio recordings, some of which appear to repeat Megan's name. While skeptics argue that these findings could be attributed to environmental factors or psychological suggestion, believers insist that Megan's spirit remains trapped in the very place where she vanished, desperately trying to communicate with the living. To this day, the northern section of Parc Sans Souci remains a source of unease for many locals. Some avoid the area entirely, convinced that something unnatural took Megan that night, and may still be waiting for the next unsuspecting visitor. The Shadow Man of the Northern Trail. Among the many chilling accounts tied to the disappearance of Megan LeClaire in Lafayette, Louisiana, few are as consistently reported, or as deeply unsettling, as the legend of the Shadow Man of the Northern Trail. Described by multiple witnesses as a tall, featureless figure cloaked in darkness, this entity is said to appear exclusively along the northeastern portion of Parc Sans Souci, where the tree line thickens and the paved paths give way to uneven dirt trails. Unlike traditional ghostly apparitions, the Shadow Man does not seem to possess a physical form. He appears as a silhouette, darker than the surrounding night, shifting unnaturally as if he is not entirely bound by the laws of physics. The earliest reports of the Shadow Man date back to the 1960s, when the park was still a popular hangout for local teenagers. Many of these youths dismissed the sightings as tricks of the light or exaggerated stories meant to scare younger kids. However, as the number of encounters grew, so did the level of detail provided by witnesses. Those who claim to have seen the shadow man describe an overwhelming sense of dread washing over them the moment they laid eyes on him. Some say they felt physically paralyzed, unable to move or scream as the figure loomed silently in the distance. Others recall hearing low, guttural breathing, though no source for the sound could be identified. One of the most well-documented encounters occurred in the mid-1990s, when a group of high school students decided to test the legend by exploring the Northern Trail after dark. Armed with flashlights and a video camera, they set out determined to debunk the myth. According to their footage, which was later reviewed by paranormal investigators, nothing unusual appeared on camera until roughly 20 minutes into the recording. At that point, the group's leader, Jason Mendoza, suddenly froze mid-step, his flashlight shaking in his hands. The others turned to see what had startled him and immediately felt the same wave of terror. Off in the distance, partially obscured by the trees, stood the unmistakable outline of a tall, humanoid figure. Its shape seemed to flicker, as if it were both solid and translucent at the same time. The group attempted to shine their flashlights directly at the figure, but the beams scattered upon contact, illuminating nothing but the empty trail ahead. Jason, visibly shaken, tried to call out, asking who was there, but received no response. Instead, the figure took a single step forward, its movements slow, deliberate, and eerily fluid. At that moment, the video feed cut out completely, leaving only static on the screen. When the group finally regained their composure, they realized they had fled the scene without realizing it. None of them could remember running, nor could they explain how they had managed to navigate the trail in the dark. Since then, dozens of additional sightings have been reported, each bearing striking similarities to the original accounts. Some witnesses claim the shadow man watches them from a distance, never advancing unless provoked. Others insist that he follows them for short distances before vanishing without a trace. A few have even described experiencing temporary memory loss after their encounters, unable to recall exactly what transpired during the moments they were under his gaze. Regardless of the explanation, one thing remains certain: the shadow man of the Northern Trail continues to haunt those who dare to walk the secluded paths of Park Sans Souci. Whether he is a figment of the imagination, a remnant of something long buried, or something far worse, one thing is clear: those who encounter him rarely forget the experience, and many refuse to return. The Cursed Playground, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Deep within the outskirts of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, lies a forgotten playground nestled in the corner of an abandoned community park. Once a bustling space filled with laughter and the sounds of children at play, the playground has fallen into disrepair over the years, its swings creaking in the wind and its slide rusted from exposure to the humid southern climate. The wooden structures, once painted in bright colors, have faded to a dull gray, and the rubberized flooring beneath them has cracked and crumbled. But beyond its physical deterioration, locals whisper that this playground is the site of something far more sinister, a place where the echoes of tragedy refuse to fade. According to legend, the playground was the scene of a devastating accident in the early 1980s, when a young boy named Ethan Ramirez tragically lost his life under mysterious circumstances. Ethan, who was only 6 years old at the time, had been playing on the swings with his friends when he suddenly let go and landed awkwardly on the ground below. Witnesses claim he suffered a severe head injury and was rushed to the hospital, but despite emergency efforts, he succumbed to his wounds within hours. However, conflicting accounts of the event exist. Some say Ethan had been pushed, others insist he simply lost his grip, and a few even suggest that something unnatural was involved. What makes the playground truly unsettling is the sheer volume of strange occurrences reported by those who have visited the area. Parents who bring their children to the park often notice that the swings move on their own, even when no one is pushing them. Some have reported hearing the faint sound of children laughing or calling out names, only to look around and find that no one else is present. Others claim that their children refuse to play in that particular area, citing an inexplicable sense of discomfort or fear. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of teenagers who decided to spend a night at the park in the late 1990s, eager to test the urban legends surrounding Ethan's death. As they sat near the playground, they noticed that the swings began to sway gently, despite the absence of any wind. Curious, One of them walked over to inspect the chains and found something disturbing scratched into the metal frame of one of the swings. The name, Ethan, etched in jagged, uneven letters as if carved in desperation. When they returned the next morning, the markings were gone, leaving them to wonder whether they had imagined the entire thing. Paranormal investigators have also explored the playground, capturing strange fluctuations in temperature and electromagnetic fields. Some claim to have recorded faint voices on audio equipment, whispering fragmented sentences that seem to reference a child's final moments. Others have reported feeling sudden waves of sadness or anxiety while standing near the swings, as if reliving the emotions of the past. Whether these experiences stem from residual energy, psychological suggestion, or something more sinister, one thing is certain: the playground remains one of the most haunted spots in Baton Rouge, drawing in those who seek answers to the mysteries that linger within its broken structures. The Blood Moon Incident. October 2014. One of the most chilling and widely reported paranormal events associated with the abandoned playground in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, occurred on the night of October 8, 2014. During a rare total lunar eclipse, often referred to as a blood moon due to its reddish hue. That evening, a group of amateur paranormal investigators, accompanied by a small crew of YouTubers and thrill-seekers, decided to conduct a live-streamed investigation at the site, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. What they experienced that night would leave them shaken, spark widespread online discussion, and further cement the playground's reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the region. At approximately 7:30 p.m., as the lunar eclipse began to take effect, the group reported a sudden and dramatic drop in temperature. What had been a relatively mild evening turned unexpectedly frigid within minutes. Team members described an overwhelming sense of unease settling over them, an almost palpable pressure in the air that made it difficult to breathe normally. Then, just as the blood moon reached its peak, something extraordinary happened. According to multiple testimonies and footage captured during the live stream, the group's night vision cameras began picking up faint, human-like silhouettes emerging from the tree line. These figures appeared as dark, indistinct shapes, moving slowly and deliberately toward the investigators' position. At first, the team assumed it was a trick of the light or perhaps stray animals wandering through the park. However, as the figures drew closer, they exhibited behavior inconsistent with normal movement. Some appeared to hover just above the ground, while others moved in unnatural, jerky motions, as if struggling to maintain form. Panic set in when the group's audio recorders began capturing low, distorted voices, speaking in overlapping tones that were impossible to decipher. The words were not in English, nor did they resemble any known language. Some members of the team later described the voices as sounding like they were being spoken underwater, muffled and stretched in an eerie, unnatural way. As the blood moon bathed the playground in an eerie red glow, the figures stopped at the edge of the clearing, standing perfectly still as if watching the investigators. Then, without warning, the entire live stream feed cut out, plunging the group into complete darkness. The batteries on their equipment drained simultaneously, despite having been fully charged before the investigation began. In the sudden blackness, the team members reported hearing a loud, guttural growl, not from any animal they recognized, but something deeper, more primal. Some swore they felt cold fingers brush against their skin, though no one was close enough to touch them. After what felt like an eternity, the equipment suddenly powered back on, and the live stream resumed. The figures were gone, as if they had never been there at all. Upon reviewing the footage afterward, the team discovered something even more disturbing. While the majority of the video was intact, there was a 5-minute gap marked only by static and a single, unintelligible phrase repeated over and over in the audio. "We are still here." To this day, no logical explanation has been provided for what occurred that night. Skeptics argue that the incident was either a hoax or the result of environmental factors such as atmospheric interference affecting the equipment. However, the sheer number of consistent testimonies, combined with the inexplicable gaps in the footage and the eerie audio anomaly, have led many to believe that something truly unnatural took place beneath the blood-red sky. Whether it was a mass hallucination, a psychic disturbance, or something far more sinister, one thing is certain: The playground in Baton Rouge continues to reveal its secrets in ways that defy explanation. As we bring this episode to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: Louisiana's haunted locations are more than just eerie settings for ghost stories. They are living testaments to the state's complex history, infused with the echoes of tragedy, mystery, and the unknown. From the vanishing of Megan LeClaire in Lafayette to the chilling encounters with the Shadow Man of the Northern Trail, each of these places carries a story that refuses to be forgotten. Whether you believe in the supernatural or remain skeptical of the unexplained, there is no denying that these locations hold a unique and unsettling energy, one that continues to draw in investigators, thrill seekers, and those desperate for answers to the mysteries that refuse to fade. What makes these stories so compelling is not just their content, but the way they reflect our deepest fears and fascinations. We are drawn to places like these because they challenge our understanding of reality, forcing us to confront the idea that the past may not be as distant as we believe. Whether it's the feeling of being watched, the sound of footsteps in an empty hallway, or the chill that runs down your spine in a long-abandoned building, these experiences tap into something primal within us, the awareness that there are forces in this world we may never fully comprehend, and yet, despite the fear they invoke, we return to these places again and again. We explore them, document them, and share their stories, ensuring that they do not fade into obscurity. Whether we are searching for answers, chasing adrenaline, or simply honoring the lives that once filled these spaces, there is something undeniably powerful about stepping into the unknown. Louisiana's haunted locations remind us that the line between the living and the dead is not always clear, and that sometimes, the most chilling truths are the ones that hide in plain sight. So, if you ever find yourself near one of these places, take a moment to listen, not just for the sounds of the past, but for the stories woven into the very fabric of the land. Because even in silence, these locations speak volumes, carrying the voices of history forward, waiting for someone willing to hear them. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Louisiana's most haunted places. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another spine-chilling story. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, some of the most terrifying things in this world are the ones that actually happened.